Want to achieve network marketing success? Then you're in the right company. Hello, and welcome to Leave Nothing to Chance, hosted by networking marketing giant, John Solleder. Learn everything you need to know about the network marketing space from somebody who's actually done it. Join us every week for front row seats as we feature some of the finest and most successful personalities in network marketing. Leave nothing to chance. Join us now.
Well, it is my privilege and great opportunity today to welcome a gentleman with a tremendous amount of experience in network marketing to the show, all the way from Guadalajara, Mexico, Mr. Peter Debono. Peter, how are you today?
Very good, John. Very good. Thanks very much. How you doing?
I'm great, Peter. It's finally raining in Texas after about 3 months, so the grass is happy, the trees are happy, you know?
Good to hear.
We'll take it. So, Peter, you've been in the industry a long time. How many years, and when did you get started?
I got started in 1988, so it's been 33 years since I got involved in network marketing. Yeah.
Long time. And, I know you're a student of self-development, like any good long-term leader, that's part of what we do. What was the first book that you tripped across, or somebody gave it to you, or however you found it? What was the first one that really gave you that, that lightning bolt moment where you said, wow?
That would be Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. When I got involved in the industry, I was fortunate enough to have a mentor. My upline was an individual who had been in the industry already for some years and had experienced success. And the first thing he said was, you've got to read and study, not just read, but study this book. And it was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I was 21 years old at the time. I was actually in university studying computer science. I'd always had that entrepreneurial spirit. I'd always wanted to be my own boss. Whilst I was studying, I was also working with a large computer company as a student on a co-op basis. And that's when I first came across network marketing. And when my mentor gave me this personal development book, Think and Grow Rich, I came to realize that, through my traditional education, I hadn't really learned much. And in reading this personal development book, my eyes opened, the clouds parted, the sun came down, and I really realized that, in terms of life skills, there was a lot more to be learned than what traditional education provides. And I got to admit, when I first started reading Think and Grow Rich, it was a little difficult to follow. It was written in 1927, something to that effect. But I was able to definitely utilize a lot of its teachings right away. But then I was introduced to another individual by the name of Bob Proctor, who's from Toronto. I was living in Toronto at the time. And he had written a book called You Were Born Rich. Now, Bob had been studying Think and Grow Rich since the 60s. And he wrote a book to simplify, if you will, the concepts and help people understand the concepts in Think and Grow Rich. And he had named his book, You Were Born Rich. So that's really where I started cutting my teeth in personal development. And that really helped me develop my network marketing business beyond any shadow of a doubt.
I love that you started with Think and Grow Rich. And I interviewed Ben Gay III. And Ben Gay III was the last protege of Dr. Hill. Ben was 27, and he was running a very large network marketing company. This is way back in the 1960s. And the company owner said, I'm going to hire a mentor and friend for you. And it turned out to be Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill was in his 80s. And I asked Ben, 2 years you spent with Napoleon Hill. I mean, what didn't you learn, right? And
imagine that.
And
Wow.
Ben's almost 80 himself now, just a remarkable human being. Wrote the book The Closers and all. But let me throw something at you here, because what I do, Peter, I interview great people like yourself and Ben and all these guys. I make these little yellow sticky notes, right? These things which you can't see with my backdrop. Everybody knows what these are, right? We all have them on our desk. And I made a note, and let me throw this at you and just love your response. I said, of all the things that Dr. Hill taught you, if you had to summarize them, he said there were 3 things. Love your response. I'll throw out the word, you throw out your response. Number 1, integrity in all things.
Well, that's the basis of having long-term success. When you are operating from a position of service to serve others, and you truly are focused in on what others would like to accomplish, and you have that integrity where your business is a service, then you're going to have long-term success. So it's absolutely imperative, in my opinion, to have integrity in all things for that long-term success. Great answers. Secondly, focus. Yeah. Well, you got to put the blinders on, right? When you're focusing in on what you want, and when you're able to define it in a crystal clear fashion, when you're able to create that high definition image in your mind's eye of how you would like your life to be, and you're able to focus on an activity that's going to provide that service we were talking about, then you're going to reach your goals. You're going to live your dreams. So yeah, focus is absolutely necessary. If you're distracted and dispersed, you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So yeah, focus. Exactly. And finally, action. Without action, nothing happens. Right. I mean, exactly. I love to say, there, and actually Dr. Hill talks about this in Think and Grow Rich. Knowledge is not really power. The old saying is knowledge is power. But in reality, it's the application of knowledge that's power. You can know everything and do nothing. And that's not going to bring power into your life. So you do have to gain the knowledge, absolutely. There's no question about that. You have to gain the knowledge, but then you have to apply it. If you don't take action, if you don't apply what you've learned, you're going to remain in the situation that you're currently in, and nothing's going to happen. So yeah, no doubt. Great point. So now I know you just read the latest book that I wrote with Foster Owusu, Leaving Nothing to Chance. A lot of principles in there. Is there one that you got excited about when you read it? Oh, absolutely. And it really goes right in with my way of thinking. And that's principle number 10, train yourself to think the way that successful people think. And again, think and grow rich. What does that really mean? It means think rich to grow rich. And so that principle really hit home, because it's been a principle, since the beginning of my network marketing career and my business career that I have applied in my life. And it's interesting in that chapter, you talk about how successful people, in a way, are the biggest failures, in quotes. And what does that mean? It means that successful people have had more failures in their life than unsuccessful people have. Why? Because they have gone for it, and they have applied themselves, and they've taken some risks, and they took action. And you know what? It hasn't always worked out. And it hasn't worked out a lot more than it has worked out. But you see, the difference is a successful person doesn't really look at it as a failure. A failure is when you have a setback and you quit. Then it's a failure. But if you have a setback and you learn from it and you adjust and you go forward and try again, then it's, John Maxwell says it best. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. You never fail. As long as you're analyzing what you did You figure out what you need to adjust, and then you go forward and go again, do it again. So, a lot of people, unfortunately, they get a setback, and instead of adjusting and moving forward, learning from it, they quit. And, in essence, that is what a failure is. But a successful person doesn't look at it that way. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. You talked about in your chapter as well, studying success, and that's so important. And I would advise everybody, find a mentor. Don't just study successful people, and that's very important. Find people that have accomplished the things that you want to accomplish in your life, and study what they've done, definitely, on a consistent basis. But also find yourself a mentor. Find yourself a mentor who's accomplished the things that you want to accomplish in your life, so that you have somebody that can consistently coach you and consistently hold you accountable and help you make those adjustments and help you get better. Tony Robbins talks about the razor's edge, right? When you're fine tuning, it's just a small degree of refinement and adjustment that makes the biggest difference. Whether you're talking about, the path of an airplane, you just adjust it a couple of degrees, and as it goes out, at the end of the day, the difference is huge. Or in a golf swing, you adjust your golf swing just that little bit, and it makes a world of difference. Just that 2% counts in the long run for 100%. So, definitely, you got to find yourself a mentor and have that mindset. Another thing that I learned in Think and Grow Rich in terms of mindset, a couple of tools. Well, the first one, of course, was affirmations. And, Napoleon Hill dedicates a whole chapter to, how to create affirmations and how to utilize affirmations to help your mindset, to help you think of things in a certain way. I like the fact that Tony Robbins takes it a step further. He calls them incantations. Don't just talk, but involve your entire body when you're doing your affirmations, because that physiology, as well as the thoughts and the sound, will just make it all the more solid and embed it deeper and create that mindset, that much more solid mindset. So, affirmations to me in the beginning, when I read Think and Grow Rich, I made my list of 15 affirmations to help me create my mindset. When I got involved in the industry, I was 21 years old, John. So as a student, as I mentioned, I didn't have a lot of credibility. And I knew that if I wanted to build a successful network marketing business, I was going to have to, sponsor people that were 3 times my age, professionals. If I wanted to build a serious business, I'm going to need to have serious people. And here I am, a 21-year-old kid with, just getting started in my business life. I didn't have much credibility. So I had that fear, in my psyche. I had that hesitancy, thinking, well, why would these, people 2 and 3 times my age, professionals, why would they listen to me? And so I created some affirmations to counteract that. Speaking with people 2 my age, speaking with professionals 2 my age empowers me. People and professionals 2 my age listen intently to all the words coming out of my mouth. I have professionals 2 my age in my network marketing business, those types of affirmations. And I would repeat them. And it was very quick, within a couple of months, I started recruiting people 2 my age, professionals, lawyers. I got invited to speak at a master's university class about business and network marketing. I was invited by a couple of professors up in Toronto at York University. And I was stunned. I went from being fearful of speaking with professionals 2 my age to now being invited by our professor 2 my age to speak at a master's, not just a bachelor's, but a master's business MBA class about network marketing.
Wow.
So it was incredible. And, beyond that, what I learned a little while later to help that mindset, which you talk a lot about in this principle, was the vision board. When I learned about the vision board, wow, it just brought everything together. And it made so much sense because, they say an image is worth 1,000 words, right? So if you have 100 images, representing your goals, representing your dreams, and you have them on a board in front of you, you have 100,000 words of your goals, of your dreams that you can absorb in a glance. It's like you're reading a book of goals instantly. And so I made a vision board. I still have it today, that vision board, that first vision board that I made. 85% of the images on that vision board have become a reality in my life. And then I reinforced it with the affirmation to really set in that mindset, to think like a successful person, to solidify and have a crystal clear, high definition image of how successful people think and what I want in my life. And that was of an affirmation saying that I absorb all the images in my vision board down to the depths of my heart with every glance. I absorb every image on my vision board down to the depths of my heart with every glance. So I would repeat that affirmation as well as have my vision board, and it just accelerated the process. So, these are two tools that will help a person create that mindset that's so important to train themselves, how to think the way a successful person thinks. And, you have to have that passion, as Foster talks about. And, I love what Tony Robbins says, discipline doesn't really work, because if you have to discipline yourself to do something over and over again, it means you have to put an effort into getting yourself to do the things you need to do to be successful in your business. If you have passion, you don't need discipline. Why? Because it's a passion. You automatically want to get up in the morning. You automatically want to make those calls. You automatically want to do the productive things you need to do to have your business succeed. So passion is absolutely imperative, because passion pulls you. Your passion pulls you toward your goal, whereas discipline, you're pushing discipline. Oh, I got to make myself do this. I got to make myself do that. So passion is a much, much more powerful, if you can develop that passion, if you can be passionate about your dreams, about your goals, you're going to be pulled toward them, So I love that chapter. It's you did a terrific job, John.
Thank you. And I love everything you just said, but I want to just, for the audience's sake, especially the young people. I have a 17-year-old son, for example, that is just really getting started in life and self-development. And over the summer here, he's read a number of things I've given him to read. I haven't given him any of my books to read, by the way. I've given him the classics, right? The Greatest Salesman in the World, for example, he's reading right now. And I keep telling him, I said, when you write things down, okay, and you stick them in your wallet, they will manifest themselves better. Same with the vision board. I don't know why, but there's some link between writing it down, committing it to paper, or committing it to a vision board, or both, even better idea, right? Which sounds like you did. And the fact that here you are, 30 plus years in the industry, 85% of what you imagined as a 21-year-old kid, you've lived. And the other 15%, you'll get there. You got plenty of time left. Love it, because it just illustrates that point again. Don't just think it, commit to it on paper, and somehow the universe takes care of the same.
Yeah, and it's all about creating that crystal clear, high definition image of how you want to have your life, and to crystallize what your dreams are. The universe doesn't know the difference between a material object and a thought. They're both energy. And so when you're able to write things down and have those images, and you're able to crystallize those images, the universe just sees that thing that you're crystallizing. And because it doesn't know the difference between that thought and the material, it's going to help you manifest that thought into a material item. So, yeah. So if you write it down, like you said, or if you have the image, what you're doing is creating that mindset. You're setting your mind on it to have that high definition, crystal clear. You have to be able to taste it, smell it, live it. That's why if you want to get that car, go to the dealership, drive the car, because then you're creating that image in your mind. You're creating that object in your mind's eye, and the universe will have no choice but to manifest it. You will attract the things you need to make that object a reality, a physical reality in your life. It'll be a magnet that'll come to you. So, and you have to believe this. And that's another thing you spoke about in that principle. Foster mentions it, belief. Mm-hmm. You have to believe it with every fiber of your being in order for it to really manifest. Exactly. You have to believe that image in your mind's eye. So, yeah, I mean, that's terrific that your son, 17, looking to get involved. I mean, that's fantastic. To have a mentor such as yourself. Wow, what an advantage.
Well, the funny part is I'm taking advantage of my mentors. I'm introducing him to my mentors and say, hey, let them tell him, because you know how it is with kids. Dad doesn't know anything. But
a prophet in his own land.
But dad's friends are really smart. So let me ask you another question, Peter, along the line of self-development. Let's just say today they come to your house there in Guadalajara and they say, we are sending you to this beautiful island by yourself. Maybe you can take your wife. That's up to you. Let's assume you take your wife. But we're going to send you to this beautiful island. And however, plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of sustenance, plenty of shelter. No, don't need to worry about any of that. But we've got to limit you on what you're going to bring. So you're limited to your Holy Bible, if you're so inclined, and only 3 books that you can bring. What would those 3 books be?
And the objective, of course, I would imagine, is time to better yourself. Mm-hmm. The 3, obviously, we talked about Think and Grow Rich. So let's that's definitely, but let's talk about some other books that are just incredible. 3 other books, The Science of Getting Rich. And I was introduced to The Science of Getting Rich after Think and Grow Rich. It was written prior to Think and Grow Rich. It was written in 1906 by Wallace D. Wattles. And it's a book that's only an inch thick, but it's 10 miles deep. And, it goes in hand with the principles that, Napoleon Hill taught. But boy, oh boy, The Science of Getting Rich, if you're able to master that book as well, and it's practical, it gives you tasks and a mindset and a way of thinking and things to apply. But definitely, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. You mentioned the other one, The Greatest Salesman in the World, Og Mandino. Definitely take that, The 10 Scrolls. Fantastic book, and entertaining to read. It's a pleasure. It's very enjoyable to read. So definitely Og Mandino's The Greatest Salesman in the World. And of course, I'd take Leaving Nothing to Chance by John Solleder.
Okay.
And Foster.
I like that. Well, there is a lot. And it is funny because the way my mind works, all of this is progressive, going back to Wattles, going back to Hill, going back to everything Jim Rohn taught, and all my other mentors, taught through the years.
John Maxwell. We gotta give a shout out to John Maxwell.
Absolutely.
Wow.
John Maxwell, great.
21 principles of leadership.
Oh man, nothing that lit example that he uses. Folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, go and buy the book and understand about raising the lid, because
raising the lid.
It's such a simple metaphor and it makes so much sense, and Tony Robbins, of course, Tony, one of the things Tony said years ago, I was at a thing with him somewhere in California, and he talked about CANI, constant and never ending improvement. and the past doesn't equal the future. And it's just like, look, guys, these are life skills. Yeah, you don't apply them to multi-level, but multi-level is not your whole life. It's just part of what you do to make money. At the end of the day, your life is much bigger than that. So these are all life skills that Peter's talking about, and we're referencing some great authors. So let's kind of do a little segue though. We're living in interesting times, as I don't need to tell you or anybody listening, certainly, right? We all thought this pandemic thing would be in the rearview mirror. Unfortunately, as we speak, it's not. Hopefully it will be soon. But because of that, it's thrown people a monkey wrench in their lives, financially, at the least. Health-wise, unfortunately, as a bigger thing, but certainly financially. So let me give you a kind of an example here, and I love your response to this. Let's just say that there's a 25-year-old young woman, let's just say it's a young man, and he's gone to school. He's done his job. He got good grades, went and got his college education, worked hard, borrowed the money, did his homework, did everything he needed to do, graduated, started his career here a couple years back, doing whatever, kind of working his way up the food chain. And all of a sudden, boom, door slams in his face opportunity-wise because of the circumstance. And his dad, on the other end of the spectrum, let's say dad's about 60, that dad was maybe a successful manager, somebody else's business, doing well, starting to look at, hey, I'm going to be putting my feet up soon and hitting more golf balls or catching more fish or doing whatever. And all of a sudden, the door kind of slammed on him. Now, they both might be working right now, but probably not making the level of income that they had previous to the pandemic, right? And they get together today, and maybe they're having lunch, and they say, you know what? Peter Debono, he's been in that network marketing stuff for over 3 decades. He's been really successful. He lives down the street. Let's go knock on his door and ask him for his guidance as to why we should, for the first time, consider network marketing. Now, we've heard of it before, but we've always rejected it. We were always doing whatever we were doing, and we were having reasonable success, so we didn't consider it. But now we're considering it. Why today, Peter, for that 25-year-old and that 60-year-old, why today, because of the pandemic, has driven so many people to look at our industry? Why today, and what guidance would you give those people if they're sitting in front of you in your office there?
Well, I mean, actually, it's a blessing in disguise is what I would say. Our industry of network marketing is counter-cyclical. When traditional economy is in a downturn, our network marketing industry grows. And it makes perfect sense, because people are looking for other options. So to the young man, I can use myself as an example. I was 21 years old when I got started in my network marketing business, started part-time, 2 months later, decided to leave my studies, left the company I was working with and went full-time, so I can speak with the son heart to heart and say, I was there. And I was fortunate to recognize early on that this is a viable career. This is a business that you can build, that you can leave to your children, to your grandkids. This can be multi-generational. And to his father, the same is true. And, I'm not 60 yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting close to that age. And the great thing about this industry is it doesn't discriminate. Doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter what race you are, doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what education you have. Anybody who has 3 characteristics can be successful in our industry. That's all they need. They need to have a burning desire to succeed, right? You have to have that burning desire, to have that passion to succeed. You have to be willing to learn, because certainly there is a certain way that we build our business. The network marketing model has a system, and it is based on systems. So you have to be willing to learn that system, and you have to be willing to put in the effort. You could say willing to work, but to me, work is really doing things you don't enjoy doing. That equates to work. When you really love what you're doing, you're putting in an effort. And you do have to put in that effort. If you're willing to put in that effort and follow that system, if you have those three characteristics, that burning desire to succeed, that willingness to learn, that willingness to put in the effort and follow the system, you can succeed. So whether you're 60, whether you're 25, whether you're 80, I know of an individual who was 78 years old living in a trailer park when he was introduced to a particular opportunity in the late 90s, and he became a multi-millionaire, at 78 years old. He became the top distributor for this particular company and was earning, millions of dollars. So there's no age discrimination. Why today? Why now? Wow, the industry today is so much easier. I mean, we have been on the right side of the evolution of technology. I mean, a lot of businesses have benefited, obviously, from the evolution of technology, but I think our business is definitely one of the businesses that has benefited the most. When I first got started, when you got started in the industry as well, John, back in the 80s and earlier, what did we have? I remember the most technological incredible thing that we had was the fax machine that came out. I remember that. Wow, we can now send a page of information from here to the other side of the country in 20 minutes. Wow, 20 minutes, rather than sending it via, courier or what have you. That to us was, wow, now compare it to today. I mean, today we have the world at our feet in terms of technology. We communicate in an instant, videos, documents, whatever it is we need, connections on video conferencing. We didn't have any of this. We didn't even have cell phones when we got started. My first cell phone was a brick. I was spending and I'm sure you were too, $1,800 a month on my phone bill.
Yep.
Now I pay $15 a month to have 1,000 minutes to call anywhere in North America, a couple of gigabytes of data. So there's a lot of advantages now today, thanks to technology. Our business hasn't changed. The tools have changed. These are tools. We still do the same thing, but now we have the tools at our disposal to really be able to build our business quickly. So why today? Why network marketing? Number one, thanks to the pandemic, a lot of people are looking for an alternative. They're looking for another option. Everybody's had to stay home. We have a home-based business, right? We have the technology today to help us build our business from home in a very effective manner. And there's no discrimination in our industry. It doesn't matter who you are, if you're willing to have that desire, learn and put in the effort, you too can experience the success that other people are succeeding. And that would be, my explanation to them as to why they need to be a part of our industry. And as Eric Worre loves to say, it's a stone cold fact that we've got a better way. And I agree with that, 100%.
Well, it's so funny, everything you just said there, but I remember those phones. I bought my first one in Montreal in about 1986. And it was like a walkie-talkie, like they used to use in the military, and you carried it around, and like your one bicep got bigger than the other because you carried the same arm all the time. And I tell my kids that, it's like they just look at you like, what are you crazy? And we used to actually dial the phone, right? It was like 100 dials a day, But it's funny you say that because, I think of Zoom. And, the engineers behind Zoom, I mean, they created this for our industry. Now, they may not even been thinking of us. They were probably thinking of Fortune 500 and that sort of thing. But boy, oh boy, talk about fitting our business as a perfect tool. And there's others that are coming along that are equally good. But I'm a Zoom fan at this point. But let me ask you this. You've had tremendous success. I mean, I'm familiar with one organization that you built where, you've got over 500,000 people in one organization from one good contact. So you obviously know how to make good contacts, and you also know how to, more importantly, show those good contacts how to get off to a fast start. So talk about that a little bit. You've been doing this a long time. You've had tremendous personal success, but more importantly, you've had success where you've blessed other people with your knowledge. What is it that you do with them to get them started so that first, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, they see ink striking paper, money going to the bank, and a success that says, hey, I can do this. They gain that confidence that you want them to gain.
The first thing, and you actually hit something right in the head with the confidence, but the first thing you need to do when you have somebody who wants to join your business and you sponsor them, and sponsor, in responsibility is that word sponsor. You have a responsibility, to help that person, to teach that person. And, the reason I left the corporate world to get into our industry was the fact that the only way to advance in our industry, the only way to advance in your network marketing business is to help others advance. If you help others succeed, you will succeed. Help enough people get what they want, you'll get much more than you've ever dreamt of. So when you have somebody who's looking to join your business, the first thing you need to do is sit down with them. It could be on a video conference, and find out what it is they want. Find out, that's so key. You don't try and fit people into your, people aren't a peg that you're trying to fit into your square or circle, what have you. What you're trying to do is find out what that person wants and fit them into their own, cubbyhole, fit them into their own goals and dreams. So you got to speak to the person and find out what it is that they're looking for. And then you have to help them make sure that things are realistic. If they say they want to earn $2,000 a month, for instance, you have to ask them, well, how much time do you have to commit in order to earn that $2,000 per month? What would be the obstacles, do you think, that would prevent you, from putting in those hours to your business every week? So sit down with the person and help them really see what it is they want to accomplish, by when, set dates, and identify, see what commitment they can make, and help them identify the obstacles that may prevent them. Because if they can identify those obstacles right away, they're going to be able to jump over those obstacles as they appear. They're not going to be a surprise. So have that person start thinking about these key issues. So that would be the first thing. And make sure, again, that their goals and their commitment are in line. If somebody says to you, I want to make $10,000 a week, but I've got 2 hours a week to put into the business, that's just not realistic. This is a real business. You have to put in the real effort, as we spoke about earlier. So help your person identify what it is they wish to accomplish and what it is that they have to invest in terms of time and energy into achieving and accomplishing what it is they're looking to get done. So that's the first thing, right? It's incredibly important that they get clear on what they really want. They have to get really clear on what it is that they really want. Number two, help them prepare, and it doesn't take a lot of time, help them prepare to get their business off the ground. And, in our industry, that primarily involves a list of contacts. Who is it that we're going to speak to? And it's not good enough to say, I got my list of contacts on my phone. I encourage people to empty that onto paper. As you said, there's something magical when you're writing and when you're transferring those contacts from your phone onto paper. It helps you think as well of other people. As you're writing that person's name down, you go, and he had a cousin. What was his name? It helps you expand that. But at least get a list of 100 people on paper, and then I get them to categorize that list. And there's a lot of different ways to categorize, and people can get really complicated. I keep it simple. There's really only 2 categories of people on that list. The first category are people who like business. And the second category are people who are scared of business, right? Those are really the only two categories that matter, because that's going to define how they will approach their contacts. If the person has had a business in the past, currently has a business, has always talked about how they would like to have a business, or possibly they have network marketing experience, those have a little N next to their name, and you're going to speak with those people about your product and your business opportunities simultaneously, because they're going to be open to listening to an opportunity. The rest of the people on the list are people who are scared of the idea of starting a business. So you don't want to approach them with the opportunity right away, because you'll probably scare them off. So with those people, first introduce them to your product. You have a product of value. It's going to bring value into their lives. Present your product to those people. And then when they are satisfied customers and they're enjoying your product and they see the value in that product, you can start to speak to them about how would you like to receive your product for free? And that's a segue into speaking to them about the opportunity. Because once a person, although they're scared of the idea of starting a business, but they love a product and they say, hey, you know what? I can share this product. I'm getting great results on it myself. You ease them in. And next thing you know, they start recommending a few people. And next thing you know, they start learning more about the business. And suddenly they're not scared of the idea of starting their own business. So I get my new person, to get them off to a fast start, to make that list and then categorize that list into those two categories. That's really the only two you need. And, the most successful people on that list, make sure that you have the help of your upline, of your sponsor with you in communicating and contacting those particularly most successful people on the list, the top 10, So that's definitely, imperative. And what I would do then is help that new person learn how to invite, to make those contacts. It's important that that person has an idea of how to invite effectively, without scaring the person, without coming across as annoying. There's ways to invite that's very low key and very agreeable. So I would teach my new person, and I would actually help practice with that new person some invitations. I would record that person making some invitations. The best way to sharpen your invitation skills is to record yourself inviting people. Then listen and say to yourself, if I was inviting me, would I say yes or no? Would I show up to that presentation? Because the invitation is only to make the appointment. It's not to sell the business. It's just to make the appointment to evaluate the business. But I would help that person get an idea on how to invite the people on that list. And then from there, I'd like to organize what I call a Springboard Event. And it could be a virtual Springboard Event, where this person is going to invite some of his closest contacts onto a Zoom, and we're going to speak about the products and the opportunity in the company. So a Springboard Event to get that person to spring their business into action, because like we said earlier, without action, nothing's going to happen. And from that Springboard Event, you're going to have offspring events. You're going to have some people that attended that event who are going to want to start sharing with their contacts. So then make sure you're identifying those people and help them prepare their business to have those offspring events and, get the person rolling. So, to get off to a fast start, it's all about action, and it all depends on what that person wishes to accomplish. You put a game plan together, an action plan together based on what that person wants to accomplish. If that person wants to do something serious, wants to get to a 6-figure income in his first year, that's going to take, all out massive action, and you have to put an action plan in place where that person's going to be contacting, a large number of people. And we never stop contacting. Doesn't matter what rank you've achieved in your company. The invitation is the fuel to our business. You have to always be prospecting. You have to always be sponsoring new people. And that is definitely the fuel that fuels the engine of our network marketing business. So that's what you have to really focus in on and help that new person get off to a fast start, by inviting enough people in the proper way and then creating an event where those people are going to get a positive exposure to the information regarding your products and your opportunity.
That right there, folks, everything Peter just shared is some of the best training you're ever going to get from anybody in network marketing, from a guy who's done it numerous times, number one. Secondly, that whole idea, especially today, right? But go back to the technology. You take your phone, film yourself, say, okay, would I respond to me? It's that old thing in multi-level, right? Would I hire me? Well, if I wouldn't, why should somebody else, right? Smile, folks, okay? You look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, hopefully you're smiling, or at least you're somewhat happy to see yourself. That's how you have to go across. That's what Peter's saying. A Springboard Event too, that is golden stuff. That is something that so many people don't realize. They just think you sponsor the person and they're going to go do all this on their own. No, schedule something. Get into that circle of influence, that contact capital. Help those people and get those people to hear your story and the company's story. Golden stuff, Peter. Golden stuff. So
technology can be a double-edged sword, because we have social media and so on today. A lot of people get into our industry and think, okay, I'm going to invite people. I'm going to send one message to a massive amount of people in my social media, in my WhatsApp, whatever, and I've done my inviting.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
No, that's a misuse of the technology that we have. We can't get away from the fundamentals of our industry. And this is a people business. And it's a relationship business. And you have to develop those relationships, and then you have to help people. Your job is to share, to transmit that high definition image of what it is your business is about, so that they can make an intelligent decision as to whether they see themselves in that image or not. Our job is not to convince people to join our company or to take our products. The person has to convince themselves. Because as Les Brown always said, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still, right? So you're transmitting a high definition. That's your job. That's what you have to, and Larry Thompson talks about this. You have to be attached to the idea of being able to transmit a high definition image of what it is your product and your business is all about. And many times that requires multiple steps. It's hard to transmit a high definition image in one shot, in one event. It usually takes 5 or 6 different exposures for somebody to have received enough of that image to make an intelligent decision. But we want people simply to make that intelligent decision. If we're transmitting a distorted image, if it's all fuzzy, and you can't really make it out, and they decide, no, it's not for me, you haven't done your job right. They're making their decision based on a fuzzy image. But if you transmit a high definition image and they know exactly what your product and your business is all about, maybe through 5 different exposures, and they still decide, no, this isn't really for me, you've done your job. Don't be attached to the result. Be attached to transmitting that high definition image enough times that you're working the law of averages that will work in your favor. And you're going to find the people that are looking for you. You're going to find the people that are looking for an opportunity and join your business. So, people get confused and they think they have to convince people to get it. No, we're just transmitting that high definition image. And that's what you have to get good at. And you have to do it consistently, and you have to do it frequently, and you have to do it day after day after day, and continue to do it, into the future. And you have to set the example for your group. So, yeah, that's really what it's all about.
Well, it's that old saying, right? You can't say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person. You just have to find your audience, and that's everything that you're saying. So, folks, this is our podcast called Leaving Nothing to Chance. We air every Tuesday, including Christmas, New Year's, all the holidays. We're always on, because we pre-record them, by the way. But anyhow, we're always on every Tuesday on Spotify, on iTunes, on about 7 or 8 other networks now that have picked us up, fortunately. My name is John Solleder. I'm the author of Leave Nothing to Chance, and also a book called Moving Up 2020. Both those books are still available. Always will be available on Amazon, and are also available in Spanish. So, Peter, this has been a privilege to interview. And listen, I'm going to give you the last word as we close the show here. Anything else that you'd like to share?
Well, what I would say is that our industry is really coming of age. It's been proven, and you can achieve your life's dream. You can have that financial security and the time to enjoy the money that you earn by getting involved in an industry. It's very noble because it's based on helping others. And, what a way to live your life. Being successful, helping other people be successful. You can sleep at night very peacefully. You can feel proud in what you're doing. And so, if you're not a part of our industry yet, it's here. If you are a part of our industry, treat it like a profession. It's not a hobby, it's a business. Treat it like a profession, be professional, and you will achieve beyond what you've ever imagined in terms of your dreams and objectives. So come on aboard, everybody.
Come on aboard. Thank you so much, Peter. Been a privilege and an opportunity. Thanks.
You're welcome, John. I want to thank you for your time and for the invitation. It's a great honor and privilege to be, on your podcast, and you're doing a great job, John. I really want to thank you for what you're doing for our industry. Thanks very much for your efforts, for your honesty, for your integrity, and for your service.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Leave Nothing to Chance. If you want to know more about what it takes to succeed in the network marketing space, join us again next week for another amazing episode. For additional resources and to connect with John Solleder, visit leavingnothingtochance.com. Don't forget to leave a review, and we'll see you next time.